Well, we keep finding ourselves a whole host of different venues, Andy. One or two complaints last week about the quality of the sound, that the wind was whistling by. That might not just be the case, but it could be. There is a little bit of wind, so apologies.
We'll be good.
If the sound isn't perhaps as you would expect, but
remember,
this is all done on the mobile, literally 10 minutes after we finished today at beIN Sports. And quite a day, wasn't it? I can only imagine all the questions to Arsene Wenger tonight will have been exactly the same as they were midweek. That's now 9 points, Andy, in the league. They've dropped from winning positions.
Yeah.
If they'd taken them, they'd be second. But it's a familiar story, isn't it?
Too familiar, and not just this season, but in previous seasons too. Their inability to see games out. It's their strength, and at times it's their weakness. When I think what teams do with Arsenal, they, even if they go 1-2 down, there are teams who you think, oh, Chelsea go 2-0 up, game over. You know, Manchester City, if they go two goals up, you normally game over. But if Arsenal go 2 goals up, teams think if we can get one, they'll get panicky and they'll give us a chance. And we found that. I wasn't too worried about midweek. I think that was just one of those strange games. But I thought today it was important for them. You could see when Alexis Sanchez scored just how excited they got and how important that goal was for them to try and close the gap with Chelsea, or to keep the gap as it was. And I thought that they would see it out, but you know, they didn't, and they didn't do an awful lot. I mean, I thought that certain decisions that might have been made, Callum Chambers was, to put it bluntly, was getting the backside ripped out of him, and that left side. And I just thought, go and change it. They had Monreal, who's a natural full-back. Okay, he's left-back, but he can still play right-back. They could have shifted him there, put Callum Chambers into centre-back, where he has played this season, but they didn't. They didn't get much help out to him. If your full-back's getting turned inside out by Jefferson Moreno in that area of the pitch, then get people over to help him when the ball goes that way. But they didn't. They didn't do enough of that as a team. And I just think collectively, they defensively are seriously lacking. There's no doubt that at centre-back they're struggling. But listen, that shouldn't deflect from something else. Stop the ball getting there would be my advice. You know, do more in midfield area to break up play. Too often when a team has the ball against Arsenal, they get to the back four. And that shouldn't happen, and it happens too often.
Yeah, keeps happening. I just wonder, I look back on the back end of last season, the cup win, and I've always said Wenger has a right to leave on his terms.
Yeah.
I hoped then that he would. I'm wishing now that he had, and I'm wondering if he is. That it's a big ask, isn't it, back from here? What can Arsenal think is a successful season from this point?
Well, they can't win the league now. I think that's gone. As it has for Liverpool, it has for Arsenal. I don't think that Chelsea will surrender that many points. They might, but it would be an amazing collapse. And I think Mourinho, to me, having gone potless, for want of a better description, for the last 3 years, he wants to win the Premier League badly. I can see that with the teams he sends out every week. Where the way he's got his team playing against the smaller teams, no slip-ups there, they just go and get the job done. Only points they've dropped have been in Manchester against City and United. That apart, they're just moving along serenely at the top, and they've got that wonderful attitude that Mourinho teams have, is they don't have to be playing at the very best and they'll win a football match, and they can do that, and there's not many in the league that can do that at the moment. So I think that's what he's doing, and therefore I think Arsenal is beyond him. But Arsene Wenger won't mind that. I think Arsenal would love to win the league, but I think, you know, he said for 15 years that qualifying for the Champions League is a trophy, and he will still believe that he is fighting for that trophy. He's still in that, there's no doubt about that.
I think it's a weekend that we've seen Arsenal out of the title race officially, and Liverpool.
Yeah,
and Liverpool
definitely
might now have a job on their hands to get fourth, Andy. Chelsea serenely carry on doing what they are and have been doing all season at the top. But Liverpool, I couldn't understand the 7 changes for Madrid. If they played so well there, why not start the same team against Chelsea, but plainly with 7 more? He'd sent the reserves out in Madrid, and did he get what he'd been asking for, losing to Chelsea at home?
No. I think the only justification would be if they beat Chelsea. That's the only justification.
Well, I suppose that's what I meant, that he got what he'd been asking for. Fate was going to deliver him a blow like that on Saturday.
Yeah, well, he didn't. He obviously thought the other. He thought when they went 1 up, great, I'll be vindicated. My decision to leave 7 out and bring 7 back will be justified. I never believed that was the case. An extra few days rest for the guys that didn't play Would it have made them did it make them any better for the game? No. Did Balotelli play any better? No. Did Coutinho play any better? No. Did Raheem Sterling play any better? No. Did Jordan Henderson play any better? No. Did Steven Gerrard play any better? No.
Good effort, by the way. Excellent memory.
I know, and Glenn Johnson and Dejan Lovren, to name the other two if
Yes.
you want. Did they all play any better? No, they didn't, because of the rest. They didn't. I'm sorry, they'd have been better served by playing them and getting some football out of them and getting another game out of them and maybe getting a result that they could take into Chelsea, the confidence they would have gained from that. I didn't get it. I thought, Brendan said that he picked a side, the side that he thought could get a result in the Bernabeu. I'm sorry, if Brendan did that, he's the only man that I know thought that side could go and get a result in the Bernabeu. He didn't. He picked a side in Madrid to protect his team for Saturday. And against Chelsea, they started brightly for 20 minutes, but then as soon as they scored and Chelsea sort of dug themselves back into the game, Chelsea were the team that were always going to win. I felt that at half time, and that was the way it panned out. They had to withstand it, a little pressure at the end, but not the old Liverpool style pressure in front of the Kop that we're used to seeing over the years. And listen, he will talk about a penalty they should have had. I agree with that 100%. It was a penalty. It should have got Liverpool an opportunity to equalise. That would only have papered over a really, really poor decision. From, in my opinion, it's only my opinion, that Brendan Rodgers picked a bad team.
Marca this week, the newspaper in Spain that represents Madrid, called it the betrayal of Liverpool's history. We've been working with Mitchell Salgado this weekend, who said, I wonder what the English press would have made of Real Madrid making as many changes and showing Liverpool the same disrespect that they did Real. And I think he's got a very good point. But
listen, they wouldn't have done. They wouldn't have done. They were playing Barcelona 3 days after they played Liverpool. They'd already won their previous two Champions League games. They were top of the group. They could have put 6-7 reserves in, knowing that they would beat Liverpool the following fortnight, and they'd also win the remaining two games. So they could have protected Ronaldo, Benzema, Bale, Modric, Kroos. They could have protected all them if they wanted. They didn't. They played them all because that's what you do. When you're a top team, you don't protect your players the way they have. Now they've given themselves enormous pressure to beat Basel and Ludogorets. And let me tell you, the way Liverpool are playing right now, that's no sure thing.
We won't be filing next week, obviously, because there are international games to think about. We will be on TalkSport a week today, Sunday. In Dubai, Tuesday, I'm delighted to say, at the Arabian Business Awards.
No, Business Forum.
The Business Forum. So if you're in that part of the world, we shall see you then. Otherwise, it's a fortnight from now, back here somewhere.
Probably here, Grand Hyatt. With our friends.
Somewhere in this region. We look forward to spending time with you then.